You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And I'm Evan Closky. Part 2, baby.
Back again. And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making Locked On Rays your very first listen every day. And remember, Locked On Rays is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Rays. Well, Evan, in the last episode that we had with you, it was a little doom and gloom, but let's talk some positive things here, because there are some positive things going on.
Let me just go on record that I did say I am optimistic because these errors I don't expect in the future. I just want to say that.
Okay.
I'm critical. I'm critical in the moment, but I am optimistic of the future.
Are you optimistic of the future for Wander Franco, offensively, defensively, anything and everything related to baseball for this cat?
Yeah, I am extremely optimistic for Wander Franco. If it was not for Wander Franco, this team would be horrific. Like it would, we'd be going back to the Tampa Bay Devil Rays without Wander Franco right now in the start. And not that he's like secured all 9 of these wins. He has not. But this dude is just built differently. He is. He's amazing. And not only just from the stats that you see, from the strikeouts he doesn't have, it's the way that he approaches at-bats. It's plate discipline. It's the ability to foul off pitches which are not his pitch. You know, he's staying in counts. That is such an advanced thing to do, and he's 21 years old doing it. It's mind-blowing. It's really, I just hope our city really appreciates the fact that we have a bona fide superstar playing in Tropicana Field. The guy is going to win an MVP award. I'm, barring any injury, I'm confident in saying that.
How soon can we put him in the conversation of Acuna, Soto, Tatis, Vladdy? Is it in a month? Is it after this year and see what he can do 162? Or is it literally the next second that you're going to speak?
Yeah, I said it 3 seconds before you were done speaking. It's now. He's in that upper echelon. Now, am I putting him over those guys? No, he's got to prove it. But when you talk about potential and what he brings to a team and what he can do on the field, there are only so many people who can. And not even mention, look, everybody's built a little bit differently. Vladito is a monster. He's gonna get 50 home runs or something. Like the ball in a humidor don't matter to him. This guy is a monster, but obviously he can't run like Wander can run. He can't field like Wander can field, and Wander can't hit home runs like he can. But the fact of the matter is that Wander's power is going to go up as he gets older. The guy is already built like a Mack truck, and as he grows more into his body, he's going to fill out, and you're going to see, more home runs from him. I mean, think about Miggy Cabrera when he started, right? He was a stick. And then, we talk about El Patron with Wander Franco. Well, Miggy ran into the Patron, the tequila, a little bit too much. And he talked about that, by the way. So that's not even just making.
Look, he could go on a bender and go for 4 for 4 the next night.
He was at his peak. He was really, he was awesome. Yeah. But his body's going to fill out. So. Yeah. I think he's right up there with those names. And at this moment, extremely early in the season with a lot handling, it's hard to say that he's not a top 3 in the MVP right now.
Yeah, right. What's crazy is that if you look at WAR, and I'm actually looking at Fangraphs WAR, he is 4th in all of baseball. Nolan Arenado, Manny Machado, Mike Trout, and then Wander Franco. And to your point, Evan, about Wander eventually tapping into his power, I think he has the power potential right now. It's just about him wanting to elevate the ball. I'm perfectly fine with his approach of going gap to gap, going the other way, and just line driving the heck out of the ball. But if you look at the average exit velocity, the max exit velocity, hard hit percentage, all that is elite. I mean, you look at it and you think, does this guy have 8 home runs right now? So I think eventually that will come. And I'm not worried about it in the least. I'd rather him be a 320 hitter and give you 18 to 20 than be a 290 hitter and give you 30.
I don't know. And I just want to say this quickly. I don't know if anybody was watching the Rays game when they were down 8-0, and then Rene Pinto hit the home run to make it 8-2. But I really need you to watch Wander Franco's home run to make it 8-4. That pitch was at his eyes, and he turned around on a fastball at his eyes. It's amazing. It's amazing what he does.
Yeah. No, I like you bringing that up, Kevin, of him not selling out for power and going gap to gap. I do think that's the way to do it. If you're Wander, do that. And I love the fact that we can tie this into Evan's comment about Miggy Cabrera. That's everything that was said about Miggy is, dude, the guy is just a pure hitter. The fact that he has 500 plus home runs, he got power, but he's actually a good hitter. And Miggy has said it himself. I want to hit like a little guy does. That's what happens, going opposite way. That's how I was taught. Dude, Wander is so adept at just going the opposite way in the left-handed box, and the same thing in the right-handed box. I mean, the guy as a switch hitter can basically spray. The spray chart is all of the field. It's amazing. And so I do think he'll fill out. I do think he'll become like a 20-25 homer guy. Maybe in his 30s he can hit maybe 30 bombs one year. But it's the hitting, it's the approach, it's the plate discipline. It's I know the walks might not be there, but when you're just getting hits, why the hell are you switching them out for walks when you can actually just get on base by getting a hit?
Question, Evan, tell me to sit down, and if it's hyperbole, I get it, but in watching Wander Franco for as few games as we have, 80, 85, 90 games, whatever the number is, every time I watch him, I think of a couple things. I think future MVP, I think future Hall of Famer, and I think 3,000 hits.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say with 3,000 hits is not only do you have to be good at baseball, but you need a lot of luck as well, staying healthy and longevity. I mean, right, we say the same. What is Mike Trout out right now?
1,400. He's not making it.
1,500 yet.
So right. And what happened? Injuries. But you're telling me if Mike Trout isn't injured all those years, the guy's getting it, right? Yeah. I mean, so 3,000 hits is really not even just a product of how good you are on the field. You have to stay healthy. And to be fair, Wander had a little bit of a hamstring issue last year. He missed a game this year due to a hammy, or he missed it to a quad. So, and I tend to believe that was them they're like, hey, we have a 13-game run. You're feeling a little off. But screw it. We're going to bench you sometime anyway here to give you a day off. But he does a lot. He runs with a lot of power. Those soft tissue injuries, he really needs to work really hard to keep his body in tip-top shape, because he's strong and he's fast, and that's sometimes a tough combination for a body to keep up with as you get older.
Right.
Kevin,
which we're looking at Mike Trout, who's also built like a truck, right? And
those three things: the future MVP, I see it. I see the Hall of Fame more likely than the 3,000 hits. I mean, 3,000 hits. We're not. I mean,
it's such a rarity. But I think if there's a guy in baseball. And I know that Wander is just getting started in his career. If the next guy to do it, I think he's got just about as good of a shot as anybody else playing in baseball right now. When you combine the fact of he's already accumulated the type of career he has in his age in such a short amount of time. And also because he's not a 50, 60 homer guy and he's not drawing a lot of walks, he's not getting pitched around like Barry Bonds and so many other guys where he might get more opportunities to get a lot more hits, especially with the Rays putting him, second in the order, where he can get, 680, 700 plate appearances, assuming he's able to stay healthy.
Yeah, right now I would argue that teams are not actually walking him enough. I think, with the way that the Rays are hitting collectively, I mean, look, Choi's been a really pleasant piece to start the season. I think Walls has had a little bit of a heater to kind of get his average up. Margot's been solid. Harold's been all right, but mostly, like, why on earth would you ever pitch to Wander in this lineup?
Doesn't make sense. It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Nobody protecting him. Just walk him. I don't care. Like, just put him on base. I'll just see ya.
Yeah.
Go pitch the next guy, and they'll most likely get out. So
it makes no sense, because who is protecting right now Wander Franco? It's not Brendan Lau. It's not Zunino. It's not Yandy Diaz. It's not Manuel Margot. Who is protecting Wander Franco right now? It's not Randy Arozarena. He's really hasn't turned it on. So I agree with you. I mean, the fact that they don't walk him, it's surprising to me. But what is not surprising to me is when I buy Built Bars and they're delicious and healthy for me. Boy, that is never a surprise, Evan. Okay? You know it. They're delicious and they're healthy too. Okay? Because they're healthy because they're 130 to 180 calories. Boom, that's a win. Candy bars are usually 200 to 30 or 300 calories. That's no bueno, as Kevin Weiss would say. Yep. And they're delicious because they're covered in 100% real chocolate. Everybody likes chocolate. Everybody likes chocolate. And if they don't, well, they're lying to you. So what you need to do today is go to Built.com. And when you go to Built.com, you're going to choose all the flavors that you want. Maybe marshmallow, maybe peanut butter brownie, maybe even mint brownie if you feel that way. And you're going to use promo code LOCKED15, because when you use promo code LOCKED15, you're going to save 15% off on your order. So today, do not delay. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and save 15% off at Built.com.
Ulises, you said everybody likes chocolate, and that's true. Everybody also likes jewelry. Wander Franco loves jewelry. We know that.
Yes, he does.
And fancy cars. But you can also get some fine jewelry from BlueNile.com. And by the way, Locked On Sports listeners can get $50 off $500 there. This podcast is only good through my code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON. That's code LOCKED on. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging. So it won't give away what's inside. Go to BlueNile.com today. All right, guys, we talked about the greatness that is Wander Franco. Maybe a guy that isn't quite as great as Wander Franco, but is also making a case for himself as a pretty darn good player so far. That is one, Shane McClanahan. Yep.
USF product, baby. Yeah. I mean, what is there not to like about Shane O'Mac right now?
Yeah. No, I actually, we had this conversation. So I'll lead you to the conversation by question. Evan, how many aces are there in MLB?
It's a good question.
Rough number.
Less than 5, between 5 and 10, 10 and 15, more than 20.
I'd probably say somewhere between 10 to 20. I lean towards 10 to 15, but I'll open it up to say probably no more than 20.
Okay, so let's pick a middle there and say 15. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, 15. Do you think that Shane McClanahan is in that 15 right now?
Probably not.
Agreed. Why though? Is it because he hasn't done it for long enough of a period? Okay. Yeah. That has to take into account into the ace moniker.
Look, to be an ace, which we're starting to see as I have a feeling we won't worry about the game right now. But yeah, you don't want to look. Shane. So here's the thing with Shane McClanahan, right? What you have to do to be an ace is you ultimately get a free pass on all the innings restrictions, the lineup stuff, whatever it might be, right? Tyler Glasnow had the green light to do that. Blake Snell at points had a bit of the green light. That's like, and we're just starting to see that from him. He just made it through 7. Last season, I think he did it a few times. And so he's kind of, they're kind of like, okay, we're you're a beautiful plant and you're starting to sprout and see the sun. So now it's time for him to grow. So now we got to see how he does consistently in those outings where he's going 7 innings. and consistently playing teams through a third lineup. So that's the other part of being an ace.
Yeah.
Going long into games and being consistent, where you are constantly a force, where you're getting quality starts. Quality starts, again, 6 innings pitched, 3 or less runs given up, earned runs, that is.
Yeah.
So we just need a larger sample size from him. But his K numbers are fantastic. I think he's still leading Major League Baseball in strikeouts. My biggest thing with him, and it dates back to last year, is for some reason with 2 outs, he just kind of just like the competitiveness in him. Just like, I think, and he mentioned it in a post-game press conference earlier this season. Like, he's like, his mind was like, oh, I'm pretty much in the dugout already. Like, I got these 2 outs, I'm pretty much heading to the dugout. And so once that kind of triggers, because he's got that dog mentality. That's the thing that I love about this guy is he's got it like up here.
Yeah,
he does.
Right.
Like, just you look at Max Scherzer and when on his starts, right, and he is just an animal. Like, this guy is ready to rip a head off, and I feel like he's got that mentality in him. When Shane is pitching that day, he is fired up, and it dates back to last year when he was a young pup and he was pissed getting pulled from a game, right? And had to get talked down and like, hey, you don't run the show yet like that, young buck. But that's how he is. And I love that guy. I think he's special, and hopefully he's around for many years to come.
Yes. Question, Evan. Say Shane McClanahan keeps up roughly the numbers he has as he has right now. Say he gets to the All-Star break with a sub-3 ERA, and he's averaging 6 1/3, 7 per start. Would you then give him a status, or will it take basically a full season? Another full season, I need another 125 innings of really, really good stuff from you.
Yeah, I think this question is better suited after the season, where I think first you need to prove that you're an ace. So he needs to get through this season and say, look, right. And honestly, we were just saying that about Glasnow last year because he was finally supposedly healthy and he was performing at a Cy Young level. This was the guy that we were waiting for. Finally, he's, so you build it up. And then the next season, it's like, okay, this is where he proves that wasn't a 1-year thing. And then once you can roll that over 1 year into the next year, then you become an ace, which is why it's such a hard threshold to hit, in my opinion. It is very hard to be an ace. It is extremely hard in this sport.
You will not find any disagreement with what you've said, because we honestly, I think I'm even more stringent. I think like aces, like true aces, is just like a deck of cards, man. I'm not going more than 5. I know maybe I'm being a little bit too stringent. I think Kevin is around 10.
If you multiply that by the amount of starting pitchers across 30 teams, is 150 starters. You're basically giving away. You'll allow for a dozen aces.
Yeah. So I understand, but I'm saying, like, personally, like 5 to 10, like you have to cut it off. It's kind of like making a rotation of aces.
I see that argument for sure. Like 1A through 1E, that has to be the feeling. Like, there has no Max Scherzer is number 1, and then number 5 is Garrett Cole. Like, you're not losing those 5 games. So I agree with you. I think there needs to be a little bit more time with Shane McClanahan. I think he has the ceiling, and I think in the likelihood of his future, there will be a Cy Young type season, or maybe a couple. Because he does have the nasty stuff, and I like the pitch mix that he's using a little bit more efficiently. Those other pitches, the changeup, the curveball, and not being stuck as a fastball slider goes. So that's been really nice. So if you want to have all of that information too, guys, you can also go to betonline.net, which is your number one source for all betting stats and sports information. You can find all of the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the MLB season. BetOnline is your continuous source for all sports wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more.
You can go check out the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. Bet online, where the game starts.
Before we get to baseball trivia, name that war. Do the Brewers have 3 aces? Yes or no? Corbin Burns,
Good one.
Brandon Woodruff, and Freddie Peralta.
Yeah, I mean, they're stacked. That's the kind of team that
no, but I would love that situation.
Yeah, that's the team that Closky is saying that would be very good in the playoffs. And I think so as well. Like, you have 3 horses, man.
You need it. I'm telling you, in the postseason, right? No, it's like playoff hockey, right? The scores aren't 8-4 anymore. Everything tightens up. So, and to an extent, somebody gets blown open here and there, but that's why you need the good pitching. So
yeah.
Nobody just blasts your way to a World Series. It just doesn't happen. There are games and pockets, but it just
look. What's great is the fact that Shane McClanahan is so refined at such a young age. The fact that he has 4 pitches and 3, I think, really superb ones, and one that he's still getting there with the slider. Maybe just figures out when and how to use it more effectively. But his pitch mix is just keep doing what you're doing with that pitch mix, buddy, and good things will happen. All right, baseball trivia.
Okay.
My question.
Yes.
For Evan, and Ulises, you can help out if you want, but I think Evan should do okay with this, given that he is a lifetime Mets fan. My question: the Mets are doing pretty good this year, aren't they?
They are. It's honestly, I'm always one to crap on them, and I'm probably going to regret saying this, but I think they have it, and that's what happens when you have an owner who spends tons of money on the product. Crazy, right? You buy
must be nice.
Yeah, exactly. So when you buy an Ace, you buy a Marte, and you buy a Canna. Good things happen.
They'll screw it up. They'll be
no doubt.
Yeah, they'll be 82 by the time the year's over. Is most in a Mets uniform? I have in front of me a list of the 10 guys who have played the most games in a Mets uniform. And I'll even give you a little hint. Number 10 on this list played 1,086 games in a Mets uniform. Number 1 on this list played 1,853 games. Out of these 10 guys, I want you to name 5 of them.
So David Wright, Jose Reyes.
2 and 3, correct.
Mike Piazza.
Strike 1.
Ooh, I guess maybe catchers are a little bit tough. Okay. Kuzman?
Who?
Kuzman?
I have no idea who you're talking about.
No.
That's a strike 2.
Hold on. Let me backtrack here and think about this.
You might have to think a little bit older.
Yeah. Well,
little before the David Wrights and Jose Reyes.
No, I'm trying. The problem is there's like the Gary Carters and the Keith Hernandez, and I don't know if they were around long enough because they played for other teams. Oh, my God.
You're stalling.
I am stalling. I got to think about this. Yeah, I need some time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a
I thought
tough
you were
one.
a Mets fan. What's going on?
I am
here?
a Mets fan.
That's a tough question to be in the spot.
Because the problem is you can't factor like home runs, all this stuff is easier to factor than games played because now I have to factor in how long they were with the Mets. Because like Beltran, Delgado, all these players pop up into my head. As I mentioned before, it just then you have to say like
you've said really good names. I mean, out of the 4 ones that you're not willing to pull the trigger, I mean, you're batting 250 here if you hit one.
Need a name.
Edgardo Alfonso.
Oh my gosh, you got it. He's number 10 on this list with 1,086.
Let's go. That's the Venezuelan bump, Evan. Let's go.
I'm just trying to think of like longtime dudes.
Edgardo Alfonso, man, he was good.
Dude, it's like there's like John Olerud and Ray Ordonez, but these guys are like Ray Ordonez. I don't know if had a long enough shelf life. He was with the Mets for a while.
Kaz Matsui.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna count 10, man.
You
got 10 seconds.
Man,
you got to step in a batter's box.
Got to
Come on,
step.
Nomar.
Pitch clock. Pitch clock.
I mean, I'll just say Gary Carter.
Strike 3. Ulises, I'm gonna try to name one.
You know, I'm gonna go with the guy he didn't say, Keith Hernandez.
Incorrect. I will give you the list.
Okay.
Ed Kranepool, number 1. David Wright,
Ed
number 2.
Kranepool. Oh
the
my.
legendary.
Yeah.
No, you guys are going to be disappointed once I get through this. David Wright, number 2. Jose Reyes, number 3. Bud Harrelson, number 4. Jerry Great, number 5. Number 6, Cleon Jones. Number 7, Howard Johnson.
Oh, Hojo.
Bay Area product. Number 8, Mookie Wilson.
Mookie.
Number 9, Daryl Strawberry. And number 10,
Strawberry.
Eduardo Alphonse.
See, that was my other thing with Strawberry. I didn't know if he had enough shelf life either.
Yeah,
But
I guess he did.
I should have gotten Mookie. I went around that 86 team, but I didn't go. It's a tougher question than you think. There's a lot of layers.
Yeah. It's like an onion, man.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a good one. That was a good one. My Name That War, which, by the way, if this is your first time watching the show, we take a player from the past who's no longer active, and we look up his baseball reference WAR, and then we ask, what is that guy's WAR? So today, I have this player whose name is Edwin Encarnacion.
Oh, my God.
What is Edwin Encarnacion's baseball reference WAR? I will say this. I'm going to give you a very non-hint. He never played for the Mets.
Thank you.
I will, because Evan is our guest, I will give him first guest. And, of course, whoever gets closest between whoever's playing Name That War wins.
Wait, shouldn't you be nice and go first because he's our guest?
Fine. Career.
Such a good one.
I will throw out a number, and my number is 32.
And Evan?
So I was originally going with like a 10-year 3 average. So I was leaning towards 30, but I feel like his peak was like really good. I'll go with 36.
Ooh.
Wow. That was really good by both of you. Kevin said 32. Evan says 36. Baseball Reference says Edwin Encarnacion's baseball reference WAR is 35.5.
Wow.
Very good, gentlemen. He was a 3-time.
It makes up for the Mets question.
There you go. He was a 3-time All-Star. He slashed a 260, 350 on base, 496 slugging. So he was at a 123 OPS plus. He had career home runs 424 times. The parrot went around the bags. It was pretty good. What was that?
What was his highest WAR?
His highest WAR was in year 2012. 2012, he was a 5 WAR player. But then look at this. 2013, 4.1. 2014, 3.8.
I thought
2015, 4.9. I mean, you're right. His peak was really impressive from 2012 till 2016. He basically was a 4.6
Yeah,
guy.
he was good. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, when you had Encarnacion and Jose Bautista, a lot of bombs in that group.
That's
Josh
right.
Donaldson, too?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Cincinnati Reds legend Edwin Encarnacion. That's when I first started watching. That's before
right.
he tapped into that power of his.
And by the way, just to say this, Jerry Koosman played for the Mets from 1967 to 1978. So
And he didn't make it on the top 10.
I mean, he's a pitcher, but again, I thought he also, what I didn't realize was spent the back end of his career playing for a couple other teams, which is why it's hard.
Yeah, you got to go position players. Yeah, I can do.
That's what I get for double pitcher.
I first was going to go with Tom Seaver. I was like, oh, easy. But then I was like, oh, no, got to go position.
It's games played. Games
Yeah.
played.
Yeah.
There's no Shohei Ohtani's in this group.
But I just wanted to make sure
fun.
that Kev knew that I wasn't making up somebody.
I had no idea who the hell you were talking about. I didn't know if that was somebody from a movie or something like that. But fair enough. I'll have to look that up afterwards. Evan, it was a pleasure. We'll see you again soon. Hopefully the listeners enjoyed the two-parter of Evan Closky. Maybe he'll bring the Rays some good luck, although against the Mariners, maybe not so much.
Wow.
Anyway.
When it's bases loaded, no outs. I didn't bring in any luck for that.
Glad I did not bet on this game. All right. Thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your very first listen every day. Now make your second listen, the Locked On MLB podcast. That is also free and available on all platforms. Thank you again. And we'll talk to you next week. Have a good one, everybody.